Hello people, Nintendo right here bringing you another Nintendo review. This time, Arlo and his review on Splatoon.
Hey there guys, Arlo here, and today I'm reviewing Splatoon! This is Nintendo's first big IP since Pikmin, their first foray into the world of online competitive shooters, and one of the Wii U's hottest titles. Will it soar to inky heights, or will it fall with a splat? Sorry, let's get started!
I'm going to make sure you don't make any more puns. If you do, I'll explode. And explode again.
Splatoon is a shooter for people who don't like shooters, and that is most certainly a good thing. Instead of bullets, you shoot globs of colorful ink, and instead of killing your opponents, you harmlessly splat them, only for them to be quickly respawned at their base. The guys at Nintendo could have dipped their toes into the world of shooters by simply leaving it at that, but when they take on a new genre, they're never satisfied with just slapping Mario on the box and calling it good. Instead of getting enough kills then, the goal is to claim turf by painting it. In a standard match, the team that has the most ink covering the map after 3 minutes wins. Ah, but it goes even deeper. The Inkling you control runs at a modest pace and is vulnerable to weapons fire. The left trigger, however, will turn you into a squid, and in this form, you can zip quickly through your own team's ink. Adding one more layer to the gameplay, inking vertical surfaces will allow you to swim up them. Try to walk through enemy ink at any point and you'll be slowed to a crawl. This ink system seems like a somewhat simple mechanic, but it drastically changes how the game plays. Your strategy going in is going to be different than it would be with basically any other shooter.
That sounds like the basics. However, I would like to point out that Nintendo planned to have rabbits be the characters, and they said, why will rabbits be painting the streets? So they went with squids instead. Though rabbits painting the neighborhood could work as an Easter game.
Putting down enough ink in order to be able to move is key, and the changing nature of the ink basically means that the terrain itself is changing around you constantly. Being in squid form makes you much harder to see and hit, allowing for quick getaways or even straight up stealth. Camping is something that tends to make a lot of shooters way less fun for beginners, but it's inherently discouraged here due to the need to put down lots of ink. You can hang out in a strategic area and rack up a lot of splats, but that means you're not claiming a lot of turf. On the other hand, if you avoid battle too much and focus purely on painting, that means more opponents painting and splatting your teammates. There are a lot of ways to go about the strategy, and it can change at the drop of a hat based on what's happening on the map. Fortunately, the gamepad gives you a constant look at both the state of the map and the locations of your teammates.
This is why the original has the sequel be on map function. Though I think the map function wouldn't matter much in a game like this.
Tapping a buddy will cause you to jump to their location, which means a lot less slogging to get back to the action when you get splatted. It can also help your team push through into enemy territory when one teammate manages to get through a bottleneck, or it can leave you vulnerable to an instant splat if an enemy sees the little icon telling them that someone's about to jump there. There are 3 basic weapon types, and you'll pick based on how you want to go about things. Rollers lay out the ink and they lay it out fast, but they're very slow and lack range and accuracy.
You're flip-flopping on the speed, Arlo. Is it fast or is it slow? If you're trying to say that it depends on the spot war, why not say that? It will feel less confusing.
Chargers excel at splatting opponents with great range and accuracy, but they don't put out a lot of ink. Shooters are right in the middle, putting down a decent amount of ink and letting you shoot a good distance. Shooters are definitely my favorite, as I feel I get the most control over what's getting inked and therefore how I move. Plus, I totally stink with chargers. Like, really stink. There are, of course, tons of guns to choose from in each class, each with different stats, sub-weapons, and specials. There's a lot of choice when it comes to gear as well, as each piece will give you one or more perks, such as increased swimming speed or quicker respawn times. These perks are randomly assigned to a piece's open slots as you level up. Seasoned shooter fans might lament the lack of customization in the gear and guns, but this way prevents certain loadout combinations from being completely overpowered and unbalancing the game. The random element of leveling up gear also makes it a lot of fun acquiring and trying out different pieces.
There are better ways of doing it without just saying weapons like that. PP is a factor here. While they kind of fixed the issue, you can customize your gear if you have enough seashells. But it's still tedious as hell. Hopefully Splatoon 3 might turn this around aside from pets and new weapons.
With the added benefit of everyone's outfits generally looking pretty different. As far as modes go, at the time of this review, Splatoon has two. There's Turf War, which I've been talking about, and Splat Zones, where your team tries to hold on to zones long enough for your timer to hit 0, thus granting you victory. While Turf War can be played without worrying about your reputation beyond a win streak counter that resets every day, Splat Zones matches are ranked based on how much you win and lose. These are much more focused on battle, and are great if you're looking for something way more intense and competitive.
There is more to it than just Splat Zones and Turf Wars. A little advice that could work, unless you already mentioned it. Comment about this, please. I'm going to skip the problems he had online since that's a lot more subjective than mine.
The big flaw at the moment, though, is the lack of features. Now, I know what you're saying. Yeah, Arlo, there's not a lot of content, but Nintendo's rolling out a ton of free updates, adding additional maps, modes, and weapons. And you know you're definitely right. Out of the box, it was light on content, but it's always being updated. My problem isn't just with the straight-up content, though, but with options. Why can't I play with a Wii Remote and Nunchuck? Why can't I play Turf War ranked or Splat Zones casually? Why is there no difficulty setting in Octo Valley? Why aren't we separated by level in Turf War so that at least we all have gear of the same strength? The biggest crime, however, isn't the lack of voice chat, which I can sort of understand, but the lack of substantial local multiplayer. Nintendo has left out online multiplayer in so many games because of how important they feel it is to play with your friends in the same room. But Splatoon's local multiplayer is confined to the Battle Dojo, where you play one-on-one and see who can pop the most balloons. And that's monumentally disappointing. With such a fresh and unique game, I want to play with my friends more than ever. We will be getting the option to have online matches with just our friends, which will sort of help if you have that many close friends online, but this is still ridiculous. If I could hook up 2 original Xboxes to 2 TVs and play 4-on-4 Halo 2 generations ago, why can't I do that with Splatoon now? Nintendo might tell you it's because each player needs a gamepad, but a minimap and a little cursor that lets you choose where you want to jump when you die would completely eliminate that need, especially since the Battle Dojo already establishes that the game can easily be controlled with a Pro Controller. This is all an enormous blunder if you ask me. I've got tons of friends who would love to come and play Splatoon with me, but when I tell them there's basically no local multiplayer, they're just like, oh. That's really stupid. Never mind then, I guess.
I'm going to have to agree with him on the local multiplayer because Splatoon 2 at least allows wireless gameplay without online. This is one of the reasons why Wii U failed. You can only use one gamepad per console. As for the rest, to be fair, they still win with gear available. I think the single player might be relying on you to get the amiibos to adjust it.
At the end of the day, though, Splatoon is a ton of fun, and that's what matters most. I'm not a shooter guy, but just as it did with its Mario sports games, Nintendo has taken a genre that I'm otherwise not interested in and added flair and mechanics that make it something new, something deeper, and something that I positively love. It loses a whole point for not having proper local multiplayer, and I'm a little afraid that even after all the free updates, it'll still be a little light in content compared to other similar games. But the core concept is so fun that Turf Wars are almost worth the price of admission by themselves. The whole thing is colorful, quirky, and creative. Everything we've come to expect from the Big N. Out of 7 points, I give Splatoon a very solid 5 and a big recommendation. Well, that's it for the review, but stay tuned for more Splatoon-related videos, and of course the usual whatever else I feel like stuff too. Be sure to follow Arlo Stuff on Twitter and add Arlo Stuff to your Wii U friends list. And remember this very important fact. You're a kid now! You're a squid now! You're a...
And that was Arlo's review on Splatoon. And well, it was something. I will admit that you're just looking for nothing too special, you'll get it there. Arlo's content doesn't do much to stick out. It's just, oh, there's a mod, that'll keep their attention. The actual mods are a lot more interesting than him. Though granted with the rare occasions of it, there's not enough impact to make it worthwhile. My advice is to work more on the humor. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and click on the bell to get notified for more of my work. Also, follow me on my Twitters, Discord, Facebook, Twitch, and Instagram for more of that.